Had an interesting conversation recently in which an idea was proposed to me, and that idea is that the ethical nature of actions understood as entropy reduction. And the core of this idea is that ethical actions tend to create or preserve order, whereas unethical actions tend to lead towards disorder or chaos. And since entropy is a measure of disorder in a system, ethical actions could be interpreted as entropy reduction. And this is something we find these sort of philosophical roots in. So Plato had this idea that justice was essentially harmony between the self, or the soul, whatever floats your boat, and the state. The Confucians, they said that ethics is about maintaining social order through like proper roles and relationships. Immanuel Kant offers us the moral law, which imposes rational structure, order on an otherwise chaotic universe. And even the existentialists have something to say on the matter. So for them, individual choice is key, and the ethical individual creates coherence in their life and the world through those individual choices. And we see this this idea of the ethical nature of action being understood as entropy reduction applied in everyday things like parenting, for example. So a parent teaching their child, guiding their child, is essentially helping create moral order. We also see it applied in communities. So communities that resolve conflict through dialogue rather than, like violence and so on, are moving away from chaos and towards order. So in this analogy, society is essentially a thermodynamic system, and things like violence, injustice, and exploitation increase social entropy. They do so by destabilizing and fragmenting and disordering the system. Whereas ethical actions are akin to a cooling mechanism, which reduces disorder. And there are some limitations to this idea. So, first and foremost, it's pure metaphor. It's not grounded in actual thermodynamic measurements. So we don't get any meaningful measurement from it in that sense. And sometimes order is actually a negative in life, So it's a problem, but I think it's a good metaphor on the surface. But when we look deeper, I think it really struggles. What do you think?